So what is a language learning routine, and how can you create one for you that really works for you? Well, a language learning routine is the way that you study language. Now, it's not necessarily doing the same thing every day or even every week, or taking a class or doing any of those things. A routine is something that you do regularly, right? It can be one of those things, but more importantly than if it is like schedule or a class or a thing that you can say like, this thing that I do, this is my routine. No. More important than that, although that is important, more important than that is how you approach that. Okay? So more important than the thing that you do, than the time that you spend, the resource you use, the class you take, the language you study, is how you think about approaching that, how you are when you are practicing, how you prepare yourself, present yourself, how you feel when you're doing that. And this is the routine that we're looking at. So a language learning routine from a more holistic approach, we'll say, is rather than having so many fixed pieces like I get up at this time and then I do this language and then I have this time for work and then I have this time for lunch and then I have this time for work again and then I have dinner and then I get my kids from school and then I come home and I get ready for bed and then I do whatever. More important than that is having your focus on your language. We'll say you have, my languages are Spanish, French, Mandarin, English, my native language. And so my three focus languages are Spanish, French, and Mandarin. Well, my focus languages are Mandarin and French. My three languages are Spanish, French, and Mandarin. And although I do have blocks of time carved out when I can practice, what I don't have is, this is my Mandarin time, this is my French time, this is my karate time as well, that I spend as much time on as a language, and I practice it somewhat like a language, so we can call that like part of my language learning routine for the purposes of this video. And that I do have like a designated time for because of the classes that I go to. So when you have classes, things like that, like, okay, then you get like my classes at this time, that's scheduled out. But when it's your own practice, you can do it that way, okay? You definitely can if that's what works for you. And here's the even more important thing, is that you can do it that way. You absolutely can say, every Monday I'm going to do Spanish for an hour, and I'm going to work with the tutor for an hour, or I'm going to do 2 hours. I mean, 1 hour with tutor, 1 hour by myself. You absolutely can do that. What you should not do is limit yourself to saying, okay, this is my schedule, this is my routine, this is what I have to do. Do it as long as it works for you, and then when you start to feel like it just like it's not right anymore, like either you're not motivated to do it or it just doesn't feel like it's moving you forward the way you want to, or anything, when it feels like it's not right anymore, look at it and see, okay, I feel like I need something different, and allow yourself to find that something different. Because I did that for a long time, right? At the same time. And sometimes you just don't have the luxury of having the same time every week. But that can work as long as it works. And so my approach now for routine is, I have my languages, I have them, like, I know them, they're top of mind for me. And my routine is created around my priorities. My priorities are my languages, my Spanish, my French, my Mandarin, karate, my family time, my time to myself for reading in English and other things that I like to do. And these are my priorities, and then I set aside blocks of time. So for me, and this is from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning before I start my day, before I get up and go to work, and before I do all these things. That is my time for usually meetings with my tutors. And especially because of the locations, that's part of the thing, you know, you have to be flexible, you have to be creative, because you just have to work out, you know, all kinds of different things, time zones in this, for instance. And so I have that block of time, right? And then I have a block of time in the evening for my karate on a couple days a week. And then I have my evenings when there's nothing scheduled. And that is my time for me to do things like Duolingo and reading and things that I like to do that are calm before bed. And I can lie down, I can do those. But I also want to allow myself time to do other things in my life, you know, that I enjoy, like coming home and cooking dinner, or like, you know, watching a movie with my family, or doing things like that. And sometimes there's a little overlap, you know, like my, some of my family, they speak Spanish, so I can go and like do things like that. But I set aside those times in the morning, and then in the evening it's more flowing and flexible, and I like it that way. It works. I have my weekends as well, and I do things like make this video for you guys. And this is a Sunday morning-ish, close to noon, and I carved out this time for the weekend to get these kind of things done. The other thing to keep in mind is, like, when can you do things that are in short amounts of time? Like in the morning, it's not, in the morning, my brain is the sharpest. And for you, it might be the opposite. Maybe you're, you know, in the night, you're in the evening, you feel more alert. But in the morning, I'm like, I'm up, and I know, it's me. I feel like I'm asleep at 5:30. I'm up. I'm like, I'm up. I'm like, okay, let's go, right? And so that's the optimal time for me to do those kind of like classes and things where I'm producing, and then I usually have some time during the day when I can do some other things, but I can't be doing things like classes during the day. I can be doing things like writing and working on different projects, but that's when I have time to do those kind of things. And then in the evening, I do not want to be in a class if I can help it, except for my karate class. I don't want to be having to like really exert my mental energy so much in the evening, because I'm kind of just done by that time. Even on the nights when I have my karate, usually I'm like, come home, work, like power nap for an hour, and then get up and go, because I just I don't have as much energy in the evening. So that is a really important consideration when you're building your routine, is where is your energy? When is your energy? What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? And how can you get the things done that you don't like to do, that you need to do? And by, you know, kind of moving things around. And it's a constant process of moving things around. So that's really important too, is that my routine that I have right now is not fixed. It's not permanent. It's going to change. It is my routine in this moment. And even with my like language meetings in the morning, they're kind of fluid, because some of the availability, like different things can move around on different days, and that's just what it is, you know? You have to be somewhat flexible. And the more flexible you can be within your routine and still maintain structure, that is key, flexible with structure, the more successful you'll be long term. Because things are going to come up when you have to miss a day, you have to do this or do that, and you're like, oh man, my whole routine's off, and now my day's ruined. No, because your languages, your priorities, they are top of mind, and you have allowed yourself these different time frames, these different opportunities to practice, so you're going to adjust. And the other thing that you can do here is create a little bit more time than maybe you need throughout the week, and that allows you to, like, if you try to do it in the beginning of the week, get all of your practice done in the beginning of the week, and then you have some extra time at the end of the week. And then if something comes up in the beginning, you're like, oh man, I missed my session this morning, whatever I was going to do, because my car broke down the night before and I had to go borrow and I had to do whatever it is, you know? And so if you have that time at the end of the week, you're like, okay, well, this is time, but I got this extra time at the end of the week waiting for me, so here we go. And so that's how you can also alleviate some of those stressful situations too, is by planning for the unexpected and allow yourself more time than you need. And then if you know nothing does come up and you had extra time at the end of the week, then you either use that time to just do something really fun with your language learning, or maybe you just reward yourself by taking the time off to do something different. In my case, maybe I get to sleep in that morning, and that's like my reward for getting everything done, or however you want to do it. And yeah, so with routines for language learning, how to build your routine, that's how you do it. You think about what's important for you, what your goals are, what you need to get done. You plan for a little bit more time than you need, so that if unexpected events come up, you are prepared. And you remain flexible with your schedule so that you can adjust like that. And you tune into where your energy is and when you're most productive and when you have time in your day, and you construct a routine that can work for you in that moment, and then you just keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting and adjusting and adjusting and adjusting, and that's your routine. Alright, I will see you guys back here next Tuesday. Make sure to check out that blog post in the description and let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and that's it. Bye guys!